Are you serious? Are you serious, guys? Get some coffee. Everybody get some coffee and just calm down. But we've got breaking news just now happening in the Holy Land. Get some coffee and let me share it with you. It's going to be a really good show tonight. I'll be with Pastor Melvin Whittington on Getting Ready. That starts at 7 p.m. Eastern over at ffctv.church. So don't miss that tonight. I have breaking news coming out of the Middle East. I also have some information prophetically for you. First, I'll put a shout out real fast, if you don't mind, for www.pastorpaulgold.com. You can call them at 877-646-5347. As we step back and take a look at this 2025, one thing is clear. The de-dollarization is not going to stop. It's accelerating. China and other BRIC nations are scared of President Donald Trump, and they're making a more determined approach to reduce their dependence on the U.S. dollar and try to establish themselves as a global economic superpowers. Their secret weapon, gold. That's right, gold, a biblical currency. China has resumed buying gold, but they're not telling us how much. They're underreporting their buying. So don't that make you wonder why? They recognize, of course, the global value and the ability to withstand economic shock by having more gold. Gold is a global asset. It's an innate value. It's tangible. It's reliable. It's immune to economic manipulation. And China and the other BRIC countries want to be prepared. So they're getting as much gold as they can. Guys, you need to consider setting up a gold or silver IRA. You could roll that 401k or your IRA over into a gold or silver IRA, and Noble Gold Investment will help you do that. Just click on the link below this video, pastorpaulgold.com. That's www.pastorpaulgold.com, or call them at 877-646-5347. This is beautiful. This coin is beautiful, guys. It's the Silver American Eagle 1 ounce coin, pure silver. They'll give you 10 of these. 10. It's a pretty nice gift, really. And you're going to be happy that you set up to protect yourself with gold. All right. So anyway, here's what we got going on. And of course, you got to get your tickets, guys. This webinar, Trump, AI, and the Cyber Society. We're coming into his 4 years of the next Trump administration. What is it going to look like with the rise of AI technology and the intelligence surveillance of a cyber society? How does that all play in together? We are bringing the best experts into this webinar like we've never had before to tell you all about it. The most shocking info ever by Mike from Around the World and Stan Deyo. And I just interviewed Clyde Lewis yesterday. His is the best that he's ever done. And my son, Paul Begley Jr., helped me interview him, which brought another whole dynamic and perspective into this. But BP Earthwatch can't wait to tell you what he's got. And John, the AI expert, is back. So, and Bart Begley's documentary and on and on and on, and other guests. Guys, seriously, Josh Peck, we're going to get them all in there and more. So you do not want to miss this. I tell you that right now. You do not want to miss this webinar. Get your tickets right now. Something's, okay. All right. Don't worry about it, okay? All right, let's get right into what's happening also in the Middle East. This just happened. This information just breaking 17 minutes ago. 17 minutes ago, we have a very serious situation happening in the Middle East just now. An Israeli hostage has been found dead in Gaza. The Israeli military said that it has recovered the body of a hostage that Hamas has been holding since the invasion of October 7th, 2023. Israeli forces recovered the body of a hostage that was being held in Gaza by Hamas. The military is saying. They're saying that they have identified the remains of Yosef al-Za'ani, 53 years old, a Jewish man from Israel. He was found in an underground tunnel. Even though Israel and Hamas are considering, according to Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, a ceasefire hostage release deal is close. Every time we hear that, it's never close, but they're saying it's close. Now, you guys know the war began when Hamas-led militants stormed the southern Israel in October the 7th, 2023, killing over 1,200 people and taking 250 hostages, many of which were Americans. 3 American hostages are still being held alive. They believe they're alive. 4 dead American bodies are still being held. About 100 hostages are still being held in Gaza, but we have found one, and he is dead. Now, Israeli airstrikes today have killed 5 people in the Gaza Strip, and Palestinian medics are saying that the Israeli military has continued to strike, of course, Hamas targets. But there are civilian deaths also among the people. According to Hamas, and you can't trust these numbers, they say that over 45,800 Palestinians are dead, and Israel says 17,000 of them are militants, but Israel says they don't believe the numbers are accurate that Gaza is announcing. Now, in Yemen, the United States military says it has carried out a wave of airstrikes against underground arms facilities of the Houthi rebels, and the Iranian-backed Houthis have targeted shipping cargo ships for over a year now in the Mediterranean and the Red Sea. And recently, they've been ramping up their rocket attacks and missile attacks on the soil of Israel, in the Holy Land, on Israel. Anthony Blinken, though, is saying that an Israeli-Hamas ceasefire deal is very close. In speaking in Paris, France, U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken is again saying that a ceasefire and hostage deal between Israel and Hamas is very close. And he hopes we can get it over the line, he says, before we have to hand over the U.S. diplomacy to the incoming administration of President-elect Donald J. Trump. In an area after area, said, we're handing off, in some cases, things that we haven't been able to complete, but that creates real opportunities, though. Maybe we can get it done before the handover, he said today while in Paris. Blinken said that even if Biden's administration plans for a ceasefire and hostage deal don't come to fruition before Trump's inauguration, he thinks they'll be put into practice afterwards. So he's saying that Trump may be the one that has to finish the deal. I believe that when we get that deal, we'll get the deal. It will be on the basis of plans that President Biden put forward to the world. So he's trying to get Biden the credit, even if Biden can't get the deal done. Now, the body of an Israeli hostage, 53-year-old man, has been found there in Israel. But what we're also in Gaza. But what we're also finding out that according to Defense Minister Israel Katz, a second hostage body has also been recovered, but they're not saying who it is. Maybe they haven't identified. The men are taking very concerned. The hostage they found today, though, 53-year-old man, has 19 children. He is a dairy farmer in southern Israel in the kibbutz for over 17 years. The hostages, this is very sad, guys, but he was kidnapped along with 3 of his children. His children were all teenagers. And his kids, though, were released after 1 week during the ceasefire deal back in November. And the family are, of course, these are all members of a Bedouin community, a kibbutz down there in southern Israel. It's a very, very innocent, harmless people who really don't want to get involved in anything, and yet this is what goes on. So we don't know who the second body is that they found, but we know that a second hostage body has been also found. We don't know the identity yet. So this is breaking news. This is just now happening. Now, we do have some information coming out of Syria right now. Syria's de facto leader, Ahmad al-Sharara, received a delegation from Bahrain today and met with the Bahrainian foreign ministers from Bahrain. The visit was the latest in a flurry of diplomatic overtures by Arabic countries with the Syrian new leadership after the overthrow of former President Bashar al-Assad. The Gulf countries, Bahrain has cut off all diplomatic ties to Syria under Assad's rule since the civil war broke out and the Arab Spring in 2011, but it did reopen the embassy in Bahrain in Damascus in 2018, gradually restoring ties with the Assad government. Bahrain is a current head of the Arab Summit, and days after Assad was ousted, sent a message to al-Sharara offering its cooperation with his new authorities and said, we look forward to working with this new government in Syria. Okay, so there's the Sunni nation of Bahrain wanting to build a relationship with this new leader in Syria. So this is what's been happening in the Middle East right now. 2 bodies have been found, hostages, they're dead. 1 we have identified. Now, let me tell you what we prophetically, let me tell you what I wrote in our book here in Revelation 9:11. This might help us understand some of the process we're in right now. If you haven't got our book, please go and get it at Amazon.com. Go to Amazon.com. You can also get it at Barnes & Noble or Books A Million or Walmart.com or Target.com or other where books are sold, basically a lot of other independent bookstores. But if you go to Amazon.com, they got a special right now and they're shipping quickly. You need to get copies of this. Let me read a little bit. It kind of goes along with what's happening right now. We're talking about hostages that are being found dead. There's still 100 hostages there. President Trump said again, all hell will break loose if these hostages are not released by the time he is sworn in at noon on January 20th. And so the clock is ticking. Today is January 8th. The clock is ticking. We're just 12 days away. In my book, though, Revelation 9:11, I wrote this: the third temple, the Antichrist, and the second coming. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day will not come unless the falling away comes first, and the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. That's 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. Now, in a dream that I had, folks, back on December the 3rd, 2019, I saw the Antichrist, a man in his late 30s or early 40s, with a thin build and dark hair. He walked into the newly constructed third temple in Jerusalem in Israel. As he strode into the main seating area, I saw many Jews dressed in their ultra-Orthodox attire, and they were waiting. It occurred to me that they didn't realize that the man was the Antichrist. I then saw him walk behind the veil of the Holy of Holies and part the veil. And it wasn't tore apart, but he parted it. He had it pulled back. This exposed the Ark of the Covenant, Israel's most sacred object, built by Moses at God's direction to hold the tablets of stone in which the 10 Commandments had been inscribed, and the place from which God manifested his Shekinah glory. Astonishingly, I saw the man stand upon the ark of the covenant, in the middle of the mercy seat, between the wings of the golden cherubim. He turned to the people and said, "Where is your God?" And then he paused. And then he said, "I am your God." At that point, the Jews in the temple realized that the man was not their leader, but the Antichrist. We believe this shocking act of desecration of the third temple, known as the abomination that causes desolation. You can find it in Daniel chapter 9, verse 27. That it will come midway through the tribulation period, shortly after Apollyon is released from the bottomless pit, along with 200 million demonic horsemen, found in Revelation chapter 9, verse 16, who kill a third of humanity. And by then, the whole world will be crying out for someone to stop the horrors. But the demons answer to the Antichrist. Dr. F. Keenan Bayshore wrote this prophecy. He said, when the Antichrist breaks the covenant with Israel in the middle of the tribulation in Daniel 9:27, he launches a war of persecution against Jews. That's Revelation 12:13. They flee from Satan and the Antichrist through divine intervention. They escape into the wilderness where they are protected for 36 months. That's found in Revelation 12:14. Now, Revelation 11:7 says that the beast, and actually my book says they're protected for 36 months. That's actually a typo. They're really protected for 42 months, 3.5 years, not 3 years. So that needs to be revised. Revelation 11:7 says the beast, or the Antichrist, ascends out of the bottomless pit. This is part of the this is part of Apollyon's mission to unleash the beast from the gates of hell, allowing the devil to gain control of the world. And at that point, Satan and all the other fallen angels will begin manifesting in the earthly realm, openly interacting with humans. Now, in the final Nephilim, Bible researcher Ryan Pitcherman wrote this. He recalls that in the pre-flood era, open interaction between the angelic realm and humanity was commonplace. However, the fifth trumpet, the veil between the heavenly and earthly realms, will start to recede with an onslaught of fallen angels. The sinning sons of God, once rulers of the planet and viewed as gods in the days of Noah, returned as grotesque, hybrid, locust-like creatures in the end times. So it's important to understand that what the Bible says about the unusual abilities and characteristics of both angels and demons, people who have encountered them tell me, Paul, that angels look like they're 13 to 15 feet tall. The Bible says people often fall on their faces, they pass out, or they tremble when they see a righteous angel sent by God to help people, because it's an entity greater than any human. That's why angels throughout the Bible often said things like, "Fear not, I am a servant of the Lord." Where demons, however, don't say that. They come to torment people. And like angels, Nephilim are described as up to 12 foot tall, and even at 9 feet tall, Goliath was a small giant compared to what the 10 spies saw when Joshua sent them to spy out the land in Canaan. The spies said, "We look like grasshoppers in our own sight," and so we were in their sight. And that's in Numbers chapter 13, verse 33. Both good and fallen angels can take a different forms. The men of Sodom, who saw the angels sent to rescue Lot and his family from the city, thought they were normal men. Demons can appear to be extraterrestrials, little grays or little green beings with big eyes, who communicate telepathically. We believe people really are being abducted. They really are being tormented, but we think that the entities are not aliens, but they're really demons. And they can also appear like angels. The Apostle John wrote, "And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs coming out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophets." You can find that in Revelation 16:13. Now let me finish reading here, because at the beginning of Revelation 11, the angel gives the Apostle John a reed and tells him to measure the temple, noting that the Gentiles will trample on the holy city for 42 months. You can find that in Revelation chapter 11, verse 2. Here we learn that the third temple will be built during the first half of the tribulation, and at the midpoint, the Antichrist will enter in to commit the abomination that causes desolation. That's Daniel 9:27. According to a poll of pastors conducted by Lifeway Research in 2016, 49% believe the Antichrist will arrive on the world scene at some point in the future, and 6% think he's already here. And I'm one of that 6%. I believe he's already here. Meanwhile, many Jewish people are growing increasingly interested in the rebuilding of the third temple and resuming animal sacrifice there. The Temple Institute in Jerusalem, where I've been 3 times, has already made replicas of the sacred vessels used in the ancient temple. The 7-branched candelabra or menorah, the golden incense altar, the golden table of the shewbread, the sacred uniform of the Cohen high priest, as well as the high priestess breastplate, the ephod, the tallits, along with the musical instruments the Levitical choir will play. As all of those things are already ready. And as more Jews from around the world have returned to Israel in recent years, activists have begun reenacting the Passover sacrifice ceremonies. But the Temple Mount in Jerusalem's old city, the magnificent Ephesus where God, according to Jewish tradition, gathered the dust to create Adam, where Abraham nearly sacrificed Isaac to prove his faith, where King Solomon built the first temple, it is the most holy, contested real estate on the planet. Not only is it the focus of Jewish history and biblical prophecies, but the location of 2 edifices that are sacred to Islam, the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock. So retired U.S. Army Brigadier General Norman Anderson, who wrote the book Jerusalem's Temple Now, says that the high-ranking political military officials in Israel have told him that the movement to build the third temple is gaining significant momentum. And with an estimated price tag of $2 billion to build. Anderson says these leaders told him that when our religious leaders tell us that we should build the temple, then we here at the Knesset will look at how to find out what we as politicians need to do. There is enough room on that 37-acre Temple Mount to build the third temple and to keep the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque intact. The Bible indicates that the Antichrist is the one who will successfully negotiate an agreement bringing peace to the Middle East, which also permits the construction of the third temple. I'll stop right there. You get that was a couple pages here. And I go on to talk about the immortal dictator. Who is this man? But this book here is, I think, will change your life. It literally would change your life to read, and I break it down. As you can hear, it's easy to read. I break down the current world events, where we're at right now. I tell you what some of the prophetic voices of our day, what they saw and what God revealed to them. And some of them are interviews I've done, some of them interviews that Troy Anderson done. And then we take a look at the biblical prophecies and some of the other prophetic revelations, and we tie it together with the current events to give you an absolute overview of where we're at right now. I believe this is one of the most relevant prophetic books ever written, and I'm not saying that because I was a co-author with Troy Anderson on this. Troy, a Pulitzer Prize nominated journalist who interviewed Billy Graham and many different people, as well as myself doing that. We tie all of our info together. I really believe if you haven't got this book, you need to go get it. You need to get 4 or 5 copies of it and give some to your family members and friends. Once they start reading, they can't lay it down. It's absolutely fascinating because it brings to real life today and the prophecies of ancient history and the prophetic view of where we're going. It's so important that people understand how close we are to the coming of Jesus Christ. Hello from North Judson, Indiana. Somebody 1,000 strong from North Judson, Indiana. Well, good to see you. That's, of course, my hometown. A little town in Indiana, about 1,500 people, I guess. Maybe 2,000 if we're lucky. A little town up there in the cornfields of Indiana. And that's where I went to school. That's where I went to high school. North Judson Blue Jays, played on the varsity basketball team, track, cross country, baseball, and just everything we could get our hands involved in. But anyway, I enjoyed it. That's where I met my beautiful wife, Heidi, my high school sweetheart. And it's still a great place to live, folks, really. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. Not sure who you are, but I'm glad you're here. So anyway, guys, we're in these end times. We're in these last days. We're studying the scriptures, and we can see that the prophetic days that we're in is right now. And if you're not saved, it's time to get saved. Again, the breaking news just in, 2 hostages' bodies found today. One has been identified as a Jewish man, 53 years old, who was a Bedouin there, who lived in the kibbutz area, who had 19 children. His body, he's been found dead in a tunnel there in Gaza. And another hostage body also found. We're not sure who that is yet. These things are very sad, and we're very close. We're 12 days away. Trump has said if they're not released by the time he gets in, all hell will break loose. I'll be right back after this. Saturday was silent, and surely it was through. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? And Friday's disappointment is Sunday's empty tomb. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? This is the sound of a dry bones rattling. This is the praise make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Pentecostal fire, stirring something new. You're not gonna run out of miracles anytime soon. Your resurrection power, it runs in my veins too. I believe there's another miracle here in this room. I need to get you scheduled, BP, to interview for the webinar. Oh, I tell you what, folks, it's getting crazy out there. Pray for California. I'll give you an update right after the song. Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Prophesy and say to them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up from your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. Then you shall know that I am the Lord, and I will put my spirit in you, and I will place you in your own land, and you shall live. I will place you in your own land. You shall live, 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 live. We are in the end times. I'll give you an update on the fires in California right after the song. Something biblical's going on, folks. Are you serious? Dry bones live. I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Dry bones. Name of this song is Rattle. Got a lot of help there from Jeffrey Clare Coper and his wife Kelsey, that's for sure, and all the great musicians. Let me just say this real quickly. We do have an update here on the what's happening in California. So let's do that right now. I'll give you a quick update there in the last few hours. 2 people are dead. Tens of thousands have fled their homes. And as multiple now wildfires are being driven by hurricane-force powerful Santa Ana winds that have blasted across Los Angeles County, setting houses and hillsides ablaze as roadways clogged with residents scrambling to safety, bulldozers shoving cars off the streets to try to make way for emergency and fire personnel. The wildfires have destroyed more than 1,000 homes, businesses, and other structures, and the winds have been at 100 miles an hour. Los Angeles County Fire Chief Anthony Monroe said in a briefing today that there's also a high number of significant injuries to residents who did not evacuate, burns, smoke inhalation, and other injuries, as also first responders have been hurt who have been in the line of fire. Monroe said that the deaths occurred in the Eaton fire, which ignited 30 miles inland from Altadena, which is just outside of Pasadena, and quickly grew to more than 16 square miles or 10,600 acres. And guys, this fire started last night about 10:30. Pacific Coast time, about 1:30 Eastern. And it was when I went live just around the same time, right around 1:30 in the morning last night, at 1:30 in the morning this morning. And then it was announced that there was a third fire that had just started over in Eaton. And we know now that there's a fourth fire, and there might be a fifth one. The fire has destroyed homes, and that quick, in 14 hours, the Eaton fire has spread to 10,600 acres. The fires destroyed homes, burnt down a synagogue, destroyed McDonald's restaurants, and the Palisades fire, which has pulverized buildings and has singed 5 square miles and has burned nearly 3,000 acres between the beach towns of Santa Monica and Malibu. A third blaze also breaking loose in the Hearst fire, ignited over near San Bernardino Valley, northwest of downtown Los Angeles, has burned at least 500 acres, and that one just started this morning, prompting evacuations there. We're facing a historic natural disaster, one of biblical proportion, and I think that we can't say this strong enough, folks. We really can't. And so does Kevin McGowan. He's the director of emergency management for Los Angeles County. Literally, the man is stunned. Los Angeles County Sheriff Robert Luna, he has said that several department employees have lost their homes as well. We're prioritizing life over everything. We can't save the houses no more. We can't save the businesses. It's all about saving the people. There has been 2 arrests been made with people in looting, which is just unbelievable to me. And Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency. I wonder if these 2 people they arrested for looting, they'll just probably turn them loose, because in California, you can commit these kinds of crimes, you just get turned back out, nobody ever gets prosecuted. I wonder if they're going to, so is that how they're going to handle these 2 as well? Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency. Firefighters are struggling to control the fires, all listed at 0% containment. Photos from the scenes have showed homes engulfed in flames. Thousands of residents have been threatened. Much of Los Angeles has been enveloped in smoke. Winds will not die down. And it just continues to rage as we speak, with the winds right now between 80 and 105 miles an hour. This is a hurricane inferno. Kelsey Trainer and they grabbed their bags. They said they left their homes, and they've driven. There's hundreds of cars gridlocked in the roads. There's nowhere to go. They've had to get out of the cars. People are running for the hills, running away from the flames. But in some cases, the flames are surrounding communities now. Some people have waited too late. The smoke is rising in the Pacific Highlands. Massive flames are on each side of the road. The Sunset Boulevard is being enveloped in fire. People are fleeing. They're abandoning their cars. They're running toward the ocean as planes are dropping water from above. And it's dangerous for the planes with these high winds. It's surreal. It's an apocalypse. It's a disaster movie in slow motion as ash falling down all around them, smoke filling the air, toxic fumes everywhere, and small ash and embers landing on your face. And to the east, Karen Miller, who's a Zen Buddhist priest. She's also a teacher who's been tending a 109-year-old Japanese garden for more than 30 years, said that she and her husband has left in a run as the flames from the Eaton fire were dancing behind them. We could see the fire in our rearview mirror. Miller, she's 68 years old. I didn't even want to look because it moves so fast. I just wanted my husband to drive. The winds had been extraordinary for the last 2 days with gusts of over 100 miles an hour. And for a brief moment, the people begin to feel like there was no end, there's no way out, we're going to be consumed in the darkness and in the fire. Guys, and so the stories will go on and on and on. But I wanted to share with you what is happening right now, the catastrophic scenario that has developed in California. It's literally of biblical proportion. There's no other way around it. It is a hurricane inferno that has bringing down extraordinary. I mean, you have a very low pressure system, and hurricane winds and extreme dry conditions with a lot of foliage that has never been dealt with for 30 or 40 years. It is the perfect storm. The perfect storm has come to paradise. Now, our upcoming webinar, which is going to be January 24th, it's titled Trump, AI, and the Cyber Society. What does it all mean with the super surveillance? Forget the Patriot Act. We're way beyond that. We're in another world. We're in a brave new world. We're in George Orwell's 1984 thought. We're in the beast kingdom. We're in the biblical prophecies of the last days. And we have people who have been abandoned and stranded from Maui, Hawaii, to Asheville, North Carolina, to Los Angeles, California. The government has abandoned the people. It started when they kicked all the mentally ill patients onto the streets. It happened when the veterans were no longer taken care of. We've watched our homeless population exponentially explode as they've been abandoned. And now when tragedy comes, there's no money in FEMA. We don't know where this last administration, what they did, what kind of condition they left this nation. But I tell you, President Donald Trump is inheriting a country and a world in chaos. And we better start praying like we've never prayed before, because we are truly living in the last days. Get your tickets right now, guys. Go to my website. You just go right to my website. You can get it at Eventbrite, like it says there, or you can just go to my website and get your tickets right now. And if you need to call to get your ticket, do that. If you go there and you can't remember your password or something and you're trying to get your ticket, just pick up the phone and call the main line, 765-414-2230. Get your ticket right now. Get your tickets right now. It's January 24th. We got Mike from around the world. We got John, the AI guy, the AI expert. We've got BP Earthwatch. We've got Stan Deo, Josh Peck, Clyde Lewis, Bart Begley's documentary, myself, and others that we're signing up right now. So go right now and get your tickets now. This will be the most important. I'm going to say this. It is the most important webinar we've ever done. Absolutely. It's going to help you understand as we enter into the Trump presidency. It's not about Trump. He just happens to be stepping into the moment. The explosion of AI's capability and turning this demon loose, and what the Patriot Act brought to this world has become now a cyber society. What does this all mean? Social credit scores, mark of the beast technology implants, one world currencies, cryptocurrencies, one world currencies, one world governments, one world religion, drones, surveillances, nuclear threats, wars and rumors of wars, a world crying for a world leader, a situation like we've never seen before. We need you to be ready. So there's two things I'm going to ask you to do today. If you haven't got our book, Revelation 9:11, go get it. And if you can, order extra copies to give to family members and friends. And number two, get your ticket for the webinar, Trump, AI, and the Cyber Society. I'll be back. And don't forget, tonight I'll be with Pastor Melvin Weddington over at Getting Ready. Broadcast starts at 7 p.m. Eastern at www.ffctv.church. It will be a great show. Good night, everybody, and God bless all of you. I'll be back with more. Pray for California. Pray.